Neil Armstrong was born on August 5th, 1930 in Wapakoneta, Ohio. From a young age, Neil was interested in flight and even went as far as building a wind tunnel in his basement to test model plane designs. His career in aviation began when he joined the Navy during the Korean War, where he flew 78 combat missions as the youngest pilot in his squadron. After serving in Korea, he joined the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, the parent agency of NASA. During his time with NASA, he was a pilot of many experimental aircraft and flew over 200 models of them. Initially, Neil had no interest in becoming an astronaut, but in 1962 he officially became one. What seemed like an ordinary career change at the time turned out to be the start of one of the most groundbreaking events in human history. His first spaceflight was done on the Gemini 8 in March of 1966, making him the first civilian astronaut to fly in space. His second and final mission was aboard the Apollo 11.
Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
The spacecraft that would solidify Armstrong's spot not only in American history, but in the history of mankind. The launch and ensuing events were unprecedented, drawing thousands of reporters from all across the globe, including some in the Soviet bloc. On July 20th, 1969, an estimated 530 million people watched as Neil took the first steps out into the lunar surface.
I'm at the foot of the ladder. The 11 footbeds are only depressed in the surface about 1 or 2 inches, although the surface appears to be very, very fine-grained as you get close to it. It's almost like a powder. Ground mass is very fine. I'm going to step off the limb. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
With millions of people watching back on Earth, Armstrong opened the gate into new worlds for mankind. The Apollo 11 mission was one that was years in the making. After the Soviets launched the Sputnik satellite on October 4th, 1957, the United States began preparing to land a man on the moon and fulfill John F. Kennedy's promise that would come 5 years later.
To achieving the goal, before this decade is out, of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth.
The result of this was the creation of NASA, as well as the National Defense Education Act, which funded increased science and math programs throughout the United States. In just 10 short years, the United States had gone from trailing the Soviets to putting a man on the moon. These 10 years of hard work and determination culminated with Neil Armstrong in 1969. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind illustrates the position he was in. While he was the one stepping out for the first time, the implications are far wider than just himself. That one groundbreaking step was the result of innovation, competition, courage, and helped unite the world as one, even if only for a few brief moments. Even to this day, Neil remains one of the few people to ever set foot on the moon. Looking back at Neil today, what he accomplished in just a few short days of his life permeates through all facets of the world. By landing on the moon, he ended the decade-long space race and restored the United States to a position over the Soviets, and was a symbol of the technological innovation of the United States. It not only highlighted the technological advances of America, but that of mankind. Only a century before, the car, televisions, and many other things that are taken for granted today were not even invented. In taking those steps, he broadened the horizon of mankind, similar to explorers before him, but on an infinitely greater scale. After being limited to Earth for thousands of years, Armstrong opened the path to a new realm of possibilities for humans to explore. He laid the foundation for future astronauts after him and fulfilled the goals of those that came before him. As he completed his mission, a seventh of the world's population observed the momentous feat. At a time when the world was involved in conflicts all across the globe, including the Vietnam War and the Cold War, the event was something the world could unify behind. The event wasn't just something the United States could be proud of, but was something that people from every nation could look at as a symbol of what humans can and will achieve.